Perhaps those with social concerns who consider bow hunting an affront to civilized behavior could imagine sitting motionless in some tundra or deep forest ambush, holding a stick and taut string, waiting, until nothing but darkness comes and silent cold sips their blood. After they've warmed themselves and fed themselves, maybe they'd remember that before there were knobs on the stove and thermostats on the wall, the bow that made meat once made the friction fire to cook it, and the tool community to surround it. It was not possible otherwise. Could they now dismiss the root but prize the fruit? Perhaps those who aspire to elevate man with great music and grand art, who congregate with formal wear and reverent thought, who think that their path should be ours when we are sufficiently awake. Perhaps they'd understand that before there were areas, before there were choirs and orchestras, before fiddles or even gourd guitars, the gently plucked string of the braced bow accompanies solo prayer and relieve the lonely silence of night. I know that music at its source. I carry such a bow with me, chained through time, and hear the song and whisper some form of that prayer with each mortal shot. And those spiritually refined who value creatures great and small, who sound alarms for Mother Earth that her water is fouled, her fruits and vegetables poisoned, her forests and their animals evaporating under a lethal sun, who urge us that we put away our bows and arrows and barbaric pursuits. Perhaps they might realize that we first loved this earth and its contents and all things free and wild, and have always lived close to the bone in celebration of that love. Maybe they'd remember. I do. I know where we've come from. I carry a key with me and I don't forget. I know where we are going too. I've dropped blood to this earth, not much different than mine, and seen it rise from the grass again. I can't forget. Whether you believe in God or evolution, some animals are designed to be predators, others prey. There is a fine balance between the two, the balance of nature, that would endure forever if man had not thrown nature out of balance. One of the laws of nature is every living thing eventually will die. Another, more subtle law is every living thing draws its life from the death of some other living thing. That rule applies even to plants, which require nourishment in the form of dead plant or animal life. It also applies to herbivores or vegetarians, both of which feed off of living plants. Man happens to be the ultimate predator. Few people would argue that. Man also happens to be the only predator with a conscience. Most people would agree that a mountain lion should be able to kill and eat a deer. What difference does it make to the deer if it is killed and eaten by a mountain lion or a human? A mountain lion would kill, without hesitation, the last deer on the face of the earth. A human predator, at least one who hunts because he enjoys the hunt, is a steward of the renewable natural resources he hunts. A classic example is the whitetail deer. There are more deer hunters in America today than at any time in history. There are also more deer. I believe there should be reverence involved in the hunting of wild animals, but I do not sentimentalize the death of a wild creature. I don't believe animals have rights, at least not equal or above those of people. I do believe that humans have the right to be a vegetarian and a non-hunter. I also believe that I have the right to eat meat and participate in a legal, moral, and ethical pastime that is as old as the human race. I suppose that is what irritates me most about the animal rights movement, that you are willing to step on my rights so long as the rights of animals are preserved. How far are you willing to take animal rights? Most people I hear from merely are opposed to hunting, but some include fishermen on their list of murderers. What about the person who fumigates his house? Are cockroaches entitled under your Bill of Rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? What about fire ants? If an invertebrate has rights, why doesn't a vegetable? A carrot is a living organism until a vegetarian, a herbivore, or an omnivore pulls it from the ground and eats it. The desire to hunt, apparently, has evolved out of most humans, but I, for one, will continue to carry out this most basic of instincts. I am, therefore I hunt.